Harvey Smith, the Executive Creative Director for BlackSite. First-person shooter is in some ways, you know, a moving camera going through the world. Yeah, so one of the things that's important for the game is environments. It's obviously a shooting gallery that moves. It's obviously a bunch of interesting game mechanics. How does this weapon function? How does that weapon function? What does this enemy do? How do those things interact with the environmental objects? All those things working together as a complementary system we call the gameplay ecology. On top of all that, the environments have to be beautiful. And so Pete Franco is our art director and Brian Hagan is our lead concept guy, and they're constantly working with me as the executive creative director to get right the tone, the mood, the feel of the environment, the vibe, if you will. One part horror, one part very familiar, one part alien, one part grounded real world. Like, what if I was moving through a small town with guns trying to protect the people who live there? Little details are important to fictional cohesion. The fact in a game that if you miss your target, you might hit a trash can and spill it out onto the streets. You know, leaping over chain link fences in a series of suburban backyards with broken toys lying in the yard. Those things are all important to our tone and vibe. One of the things we're really trying to do is leverage the interesting work that the Stranglehold team has done with destructible environments. We are really going after the massive destructibility as a feature. We want the player to be able to shoot up the concrete and expose the Z-barb under it and pillars. We want the player to be able to splinter wood and do all the things in a modern shooter that feel good. That's just a way to enforce the reality that the player has influence over the environment. Players love that. You can't go wrong with letting the player destroy things. One of the things that's important to us about the environments is the time of day and the weather. Why is it raining in the desert? What's going on? How is weird weather on our minds right now? Is the planet turning against us? A fear that a lot of people have. What if we're wrong? What if there really is a big crisis going on right now? On top of everything else in the environment, nailing the small town feel, we're interested in what time of the day is it, how does that influence the mood, and what's the weather like? The environments are super pivotal to creating the right mood. There's a classic phrase from fantasy and science fiction, which is moving from the familiar to the unfamiliar. There's just something more interesting about using familiar and unfamiliar elements combined together like that.